From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics. Proudly combating the thought police since 2016, here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. New Orleans is getting hit hard. The novel coronavirus has swept through the city and throughout the state of Louisiana at a rate that is keeping up with the worst records in the world. It's record-breaking. New Orleans has quietly become one of the worst affected areas in the United States. 65 people have been killed by the virus in the state. Over half of those people were in New Orleans. The death toll is only 6 less than California. Now, California is a state with 35 million more people than Louisiana. New Orleans has a higher per capita rate of infection than some boroughs of New York City. Coronavirus cases in New Orleans have spread at a faster rate in the first 2 weeks than any state in America or country in the world. So how did New Orleans become such a hot spot? Well, at the end of February, the city celebrated the annual Mardi Gras festival, drawing 1 million visitors to crammed street parades. They were throwing coronavirus beads and parading down the streets with asymptomatic coronavirus bodies touching each other, hugging each other, shaking hands, not social distancing, that's for goddamn sure. The Louisiana governor, John Bel Edwards, ordered a statewide stay-at-home order over the weekend in an attempt to flatten the curve. But Wednesday's infection rate announcement and death toll, well, it marked the steepest increase in figures so far in Louisiana. Cases are growing drastically every day. This deep South state is also one of the poorest in America, with 20% of the residents living in poverty. Meanwhile, the U.S. death toll has surpassed 1,000 people, doubling in only 3 days. Americans have died in 42 states and territories and districts. The worst is still to come. On Tuesday night, emergency medical services workers in New York City had received 6,406 911 calls in that 24-hour period. It was the highest volume ever recorded in the city, surpassing the totals from September 11th, 2001. Now the city's telling people, don't call 911. That's where we're at today. The total rose to 6,544 on Wednesday, setting another new record. It could be as high as 7,000 today. Meanwhile, another emergency is sweeping across the nation, which is unemployment. Unemployment numbers are 3.3 million Americans. They filed for unemployment in the midst of the corona pandemic. There is congressional legislation that was passed by the Senate and is awaiting a vote Friday in the House. This will help get federal funds injected into the economy, but will it be enough? Are we headed for a recession? Are we headed for another Great Depression? There is so much uncertainty. Americans are feeling the economic fallout from the spreading corona crisis, with a majority saying the outbreak has caused a family member to lose their job or face reduction in pay or reduction in hours. The concerns about the financial impact of the pandemic span across the country as well as across most income and demographic groups. The coronavirus affects us all, and it's impacting everyone. We are all in this together. All aboard the train to Vegas. We all know that Vegas is shut down right now, completely shut down, and it's going to be like that for a while before it's back up and running. But you know what? It's going to take a while for this train to get done nonetheless before it's ready to rock and roll to Vegas. In recent weeks, a proposal by Florida-based company Express West for a Las Vegas train service has surprisingly advanced. The $4.8 billion project should have full funding for a 170-mile line along Interstate 15. And it's going to start construction later this year, with trains running by 2023. The plan calls for a high-speed electric train system from Apple Valley in the California high desert to Las Vegas. Now, this is almost completely funded privately. Land has been purchased for the stations, maintenance yards and related residential buildings and commercial buildings have been in development. The Las Vegas line would be marked as Virgin Trains. Now, that's the same brand as the airline and the space tourist entrepreneur Richard Branson spearheaded, though he has no investment in the train. The train would originate in Apple Valley, California, which is a 1 hour or longer drive through heavy congestion for most Los Angelinos. The train station, the Vegas station, would be 5 miles south of the Strip. The average fare, they say, would be $60, and the travel time would be about 80 to 90 minutes. The train could hit top speeds of 180 miles per hour, but it would average out at about 120 miles an hour. It would beat the best possible drive time by about an hour, possibly 2 or 3 hours when the highway's packed. If you're leaving on a Sunday morning, it's going to take you like 3 hours just to escape Vegas. Passengers could check into their hotels at the Apple Valley train station, and their bags would be waiting for them at their rooms when they arrived. There wouldn't be any gambling on the train, but drinks, they're going to be available. Cocktail hour begins as soon as the wheels start moving. It's kind of nice to think about when we're stuck in quarantine, no?
Newsman, get your news, man. Come on, newsman, tell me the news. Tell me the news. Tell me the news. Newsman, get your news, man. Come on, newsman, tell me the news. Newsman, get your news, man. Come on, newsman, tell me the news. Tell me the news. Tell me the news. Newsman, get your news, man. Come on, newsman, tell me the news. News.